What's up, my peeps? I've been wanting to make some videos, but y'all know I'll be working a lot, man. I work two jobs, and I haven't had a day off for going on 3 weeks. Yeah, this is my third week, uh, working 7 days in a row. I mean, neither one of my jobs is like hard, but it's just kind of sucks not having a day off. Don't have a whole lot of time for like any other stuff. But anyway, I wanted to make a video for you guys. This one's going to be about strange adventures driving on the Highway 87 and the Florence Junction highways. Like if you're a person that's driven a lot on highways at night, or like just like maybe taking a road trip or something, then you already know, like, you see some crazy stuff, some weird stuff sometimes, driving at night. So these are some more of my stories about that kind of stuff. I did one video about it before. So before I start telling the stories, again, just, don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you're not already, and then comment, so I like interacting with you guys. So anyways, this first one happened, like, I would say, like, in 96 or 97, I think, when I was at DOC still, Arizona Department of Corrections. And I used to, at SMU1, that was the unit I worked at. But anyways, I used to carpool with these two brothers. One of them, his name was Williams. That was his last name. And then the other one, I don't remember his last name, but his first name was Brad. And Williams was like, he was my homie. We were tight. I did some videos about him. KW. He was he was slanging on the side. He was bringing in shit. But anyway, so one night we were driving home from the prison, and it was we worked second shift, so our shift ended at 9:30 p.m. and so it's probably like maybe around 10 p.m. and we were driving northbound on the Florence Junction highway, and that's like it runs from Florence to like I think where it like turns into the 60. That's like Gold Canyon or something like that. It's like kind of like just west of like going towards Superior. And so like anyways, we were driving home and everything was normal. We were just listening to some music, talking and stuff. And then like all of a sudden we started seeing a bunch of cars like pulled over on the side of the highway. And just to kind of explain the area where we were going through, it's, desert. It's probably like about, I would say like maybe like 5 to 7 miles out of Florence. And there's like there's a National Guard. We had just passed the National Guard firing range. And like there's mountains on both sides, and it's just desert. There's like nothing out there. So anyways, we've seen a bunch of cars, like I'd say at least like maybe 5 or 6 cars pulled like all along both sides of the highway, and they were just looking like up at the sky. Like at first we were like, what the fuck, like what's going on, right? And this, again, like, this is 1996, so nobody had cell phones. And you know what I mean? So nobody probably had a camera. Some people might have had a camera, I don't know, but no cell phones. And so anyway, we start to slow down, and like we look up to see what everybody's looking at. And to me, what it looked like a huge spotlight in the sky, like just kind of there was like a point of origin, right? Like where it started, and then it just kind of like came out like that, and it looked like a kind of a spotlight, like different colors, and it just looked weird, and it didn't look like it was moving. It looked like it was just like sitting in one spot, and it was there for like I don't know, maybe like say like about 7 to 10 minutes, and then it just like disappeared, just like went out or something, right? So we were just like, we pulled over on the side of the highway, and we were like talking to a bunch of other people, and Everybody was saying like, is it a freaking UFO? Like, what the heck was that? It was pretty weird. And then, so eventually, we just like ended up getting back in the car, and we drove off, and we're talking about it all the way home. It was pretty interesting. So like anyway, the next morning, uh, we heard on the radio, or they might have even said on the news. I think it was on the news. Like the military was saying they launched a satellite. So I don't know if that's what it really was, but the military's always got an explanation. Like they're not going to say it was something else. That's what they said it was. They launched a satellite. So you guys can decide whether you think that's the truth, or if it might have been something else. Didn't look like no rocket to me, but I'm not an expert on rockets. So anyway, so the next thing that happened was actually one night. This is when I was working at CCA. So this was like maybe, I'd say like, I think it was maybe like '03, because I think my son was maybe like, he was like 2 or 3 years old, I think. No, actually he was smaller than that. He was like maybe about a year old. He was still small. He was like a baby. Um, and what happened was my truck, I don't know what was wrong with it, but it wouldn't start. I couldn't get it started. I had some people try to help me. It wouldn't start. So, nobody was driving, my direction, to Chandler. I was like, I think the only person there that worked, from Chandler. Everybody else was driving from like Mesa or like Tucson or Casa Grande, or they lived right there in Florence anyway, right? Which used to shock me, because people would always say like, man, like, isn't that a long drive for you? And I mean, it really wasn't. It was only like maybe 45, 50 minutes, like through the res. It wasn't that long at all, and it didn't bother me. Like, it was cool to me. Like, it was kind of relaxing. Like I actually preferred to drive by myself. I didn't really like carpooling, but I did whenever I could, just because it makes sense. But anyway, my truck wouldn't start, so I had called my wife and told her like, man, I'm really sorry, but you're gonna have to come get me. So she was like, that's okay, I don't mind. So it was probably like, I think second shift there got out about 9:30 also, so it was like maybe about 10:15 or something like that. And so like by the time she got on the road, it was like maybe about 10:45 or something, because she had to get the baby ready and everything, get him loaded up, and because in the back seat, in the car seat, right? So they start driving, and there was like, I've talked about it previously in my video, adventures on the I-87, or I don't remember what I called it, but it's the one where I talk about all the years of driving through the res, and just driving on the highway through the desert and stuff, all the crazy stuff that I experienced, and stuff that I saw. But anyway, I talked about when you drive through the res, there's an area where there's a lot of mountains, and you get no cell phone service through there, like nothing. And so I used to always call that part of the highway Area 51, or that part of the res. I mean, me and a buddy that I used to talk to, we always called it that, because we'd always lose communications through there. And we used to always say like, we'd blame it on like the evil spirits or something, like on the res. And if anybody knows anything about the res, man, like they got some crazy stories out there, about like Wendigos, or skinwalkers and all that crazy shit. I gotta do one of these real quick, because you're not supposed to talk about them things. And I'm here by myself all night till 7 a.m. in the morning, in a big giant building that I patrol. But anyway, so like when she got to the prison to pick me up, I could tell right away, like or actually, you know what? She called me as soon as she cleared the mountains. she called me and she sounded really scared and like shook up, right? Um, and she was telling me that she was like all frantic. She was like something was chasing us. I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, something was floating behind the car, like no joke. Um, and I know some of you like don't believe in paranormal shit. That's cool, you know. If you've never had an experience, I don't blame you. You know, I mean, you're not gonna believe in something you've never seen, right? But she said something black was like floating behind the car. And it always kind of made me laugh, even though it sounds kind of crazy, but because she always said it looked like a magic carpet, you know. So when we talk about it now, we joke around about it. She says a flying carpet was chasing them, you know, but she said it was like something black and like maybe I don't know, about 5 or 6 feet across, and it was just like floating behind the car. And she said when she saw it, she like got scared and like, you know, kind of like swerved a little bit because she got so scared. And then she got scared. She thought, oh my God, like I don't want to crash, right? So she, you know, kept looking at it in the rearview mirror. And of course she's scared because our son's in the back seat. And she was kind of panicking, she said. So she said she was like trying to tell him, Mijo, unbuckle yourself and come to the front seat. But she said he was just like laughing and like playing with his little toys, whatever he had. And so he was clueless, you know. And she kept telling me, "Oh, unbuckle yourself and come to the front seat." But, you know, probably a good thing he didn't because, you know, you don't really want your child unbuckling themselves doing like, you know, 65, you know, or 70, whatever she was doing, right? But anyways, you know, and my wife was always the kind of person, she was always kind of afraid to drive on freeways and highways. Like, she didn't like driving fast. So she said she like kind of floored it and went up to about like maybe about 75, 80. And that's crazy for her because she would never drive that fast. She's like terrified to go that fast, right? But she said it caught back up to her, you know, even when she went that fast. And then she said it stayed right behind the car. She said the closest it got, she said it got like almost to like maybe a couple of feet away from the back window. And that's when she punched it and went up to about like 85. And trying to think of what kind of car she was driving. I think it was this. I used to have a Ford 500. I think that's what she was in. If you know what that is, it's like a actually, no, it wasn't. It wasn't the Ford 500. Yeah, I think it was. Ford 500 is like the same thing as like a Taurus. For whatever reason, they changed the name, you know. But anyway, so she said it got like a couple feet away from the back window, and then she punched it and kind of got away from it for a little bit, and then it caught back up, like, you know, and then so she said it was behind the car all the way till they got to the end of the mountains, and she said right when they like kind of, you know, cleared the last mountain, she said it just kind of like started like falling back, I guess, like, you know, she saw it getting farther and farther, and then she's, you know, swears up and down that it just like disappeared, you know. I don't know if she just couldn't see it, but she said it just like disappeared. So, you know, she was all frantic, you know, on the phone with me telling me that, and then I know she didn't make it up. Like maybe it was, you know, maybe there's an explanation for it. I mean, maybe it was like, I don't know, maybe it was a freaking blanket or something floating, and somehow, you know, I don't know how the hell it would keep up with the car, but maybe it was somehow like hooked to the car or something. I don't know, but you know, that's what she told me. And when she got to the jail, she was like, I could tell by the look on her face, she was like just terrified, you know. And so I, you know, I tried to calm her down, and you know, so don't worry, you know, I'm gonna get my gun out of my truck, and I mean, not that a gun would probably do any good against something like that if it was some, you know, some kind of freaking evil spirit or something, you know, but I don't know, man. I talked to some natives about it, and they told me it was probably like a skinwalker, you know, or a spirit walker, you know, one of those freaking things, you know. And they said it probably just wanted to scare her because if you're not, usually I think those things don't mess with somebody that's not native, you know, supposedly. But I guess if you hang out enough on the res or something, maybe it'll get your ass. I don't know. I don't want to find out. But anyway, I'm gonna do another one of these, to keep them things away, not welcome here, But anyway, so I'm gonna go to my third story, and this was actually This is also another story from when I was working at CCA. And speaking of carpooling, so I used to carpool with this young dude. I'm gonna call him PA. Those are his initials, right? And he's a pretty cool dude. He's actually like a friend of the family, or he was. I don't talk to him anymore. I haven't talked to him in a long time. But his mom was like friends with my sisters, and like I actually babysat him a couple times because like when I was younger, like I loved my nephews. Like I was kind of like a father figure to them because, of course, my sisters weren't like the best. They didn't make the best choices when it came to men, unfortunately, and their dad's kind of like, well, one of the dads was in prison, and then the other dad was just, I don't know, he was just never around, I guess. But so anyways, like I was always really tight with my nephews. I used to always like tell my sisters like if they wanted to go out or something, like I would watch them, and like of course I would like teach them. I always wanted to teach them boxing and wrestling and stuff, so they loved it. Like we would put a mattress on the ground or something, and I'd have them like body slamming each other and shit. And then I always had boxing gloves. I'd have them like sparring each other and shit. But anyways, this dude, like he was friends. Well, he was the son, like I said, of my sister's friend. So he came, a couple times when I babysat my nephews. Like he would be there too, and so like he wrestled and sparred a couple times with my nephews. But anyway, he ended up working at the prison, and we started carpooling together. And he was a cool dude, but the only thing I would say is, man, this motherfucker talked too much. I'm not gonna lie, like, dude, like, never shut up, like, never stop talking, right? And like sometimes I would get annoyed because I would want to just like listen to music, like even a good song would come on and I would turn it up, and homeboy would just keep talking louder. And I'm like looking at him like, God damn, this motherfucker don't take a hint. But anyway, that's beside the point. So anyway, one night we're driving to work, and we had just cleared like Area 51, like where the mountains are that I was just talking about, right? Right as we were coming out of that area, we see this young native girl like walking on the side of the highway. It looked like she was maybe like 18 or 19, if I had to guess. Could have been younger. But she was just walking, and she was hitchhiking. She put her thumb out, right? And so we passed her. We drove past her, and we're, just like looking like, oh damn, like that's crazy, right? Because this was like we were going to work graveyard shift, so this was probably like about, I don't know, like about 9 o'clock at night, and so I was driving. We were in my car, the Ford 500 I was talking about, and so like. He was like looking, he was like, damn, that's crazy, right? So I was like, maybe we should pick her up, like, because that's not safe, right? Like, some crazy person might pick her up or something, right? Some bad dude might pick her up. So we drove, we were going pretty fast, right? Because it's highway, we're doing about 65. So I start to slow down to turn around. And I was looking at her. She was in the rearview mirror, right? She was still walking same direction we were driving, and so we lost sight of her for maybe like about a couple of seconds, when we pulled over to turn around, right? So we turned around, and we start driving back, and she was gone, like she was nowhere to be seen, and we just looked at each other and we're like, where the fuck did she go? And on both sides, there was just like fields, Well, on one side it was kind of more like desert, but on the other side it was just like fields. And the only thing, like, there was like this little like dirt berm, like at the edge of the field, But there was like nowhere she could have hid unless she like freaking dug herself into the dirt or something, you know, or unless there was a hole or something that we didn't see. Like, there was nowhere she could have hid. And, you know, like, there was no way she could have ran that fast, like, just, you know, ran out of sight or whatever, because it was just flat land, right? So we were tripping out. We were like, where the fuck did she go? Like, she just disappeared, you know? So we kind of drove back a little ways, like almost till we were almost back to the mountain. And we were just looking around everywhere. And we did not see this girl. Like, she was gone. So we, like, just looked at each other. And he was like, man, he goes, bro, that's fucking weird. He goes, let's get the fuck out of here, you know? So I'm like, yeah, let's go, dude. Like I said, you know, well, like, I'm, you know, worried about what happened to her. But I don't know. I mean, the girl's just gone. Like, maybe she was never there, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe she was a fucking spirit. I don't know. So we turned around and fucking took our asses to work, and we were like, that one like boggled us for a long time. Like, you know, we were just like, you know, it was a mystery. But anyway, I might have some more stories about you know, my driving adventures on the I-87 and the Florence Junction, and the 60 also. You know, driving through the res and everything. But anyways, that's another video for now. You know, until we meet again, your homie Big Cisco. Peace.